Winter is here and somehow tents have gone missing from the Russian military registry of equipment, much like the winter uniforms. Let's watch a video together from one of the Mobix camps. It will give us an idea of the situation with winter in the Russian army. A lot of freshly mobilized troops, snow, a civilian tent. But I don't see any military tents. We can hear the wind. It is cold. I gotta stop right here. We were not allowed to make fires in the winter or in the summer. No fires at all when we were in the military. But of course we had tents. Telk in Estonia, a squat tent. Up to like 10 people could fit in it. It's a huge one. Sweden gave those tents to us in the 90s. They work well. They have a stove inside, wood-fired stove. And if I wouldn't have that tent, I would definitely make a fire to get warm.
Так мы и живем. Вот так мы греемся. Вот так вот.
Some mobilized have civilian tents, I see. They are lucky, very lucky. This white civilian tent we just saw probably doesn't have a stove inside, but with your body heat, you are as a human are enough to heat up one of these tents. It will be a lot warmer inside, it will protect you against wind and perhaps rain if you have the proper rain cover. I feel bad for these troops because you cannot always be next to a fire. If you're next to a fire, you're warm immediately. If you leave the fire vicinity, you will be cold. At night, your body does not produce heat, then you gotta go pee or, number 2 at night. You will be very cold and it will be very hard to get the warmth back and fall asleep again. All of these problems come because there are no tents or winter uniforms. We see another big fire. Oh, okay. A plastic tent. In some instances, Estonians also made them in the military, but we made saunas out of this. Believe it or not, if you put plastic food wrap around trees like that and you put a stove inside, you can make a sauna out of this. I'm not kidding you. You will heat it up to 90 degrees Celsius and the heat won't leave if you keep firing the wood in the stove. This could be turned into a sauna if they wanted to, but I'm sure now it serves the purpose of a tent, and I think it does a pretty good job compared to if you have nothing. You gotta give it to them, they are a great idea.
Лейтенант, я тебе отвечаю, что он сейчас скажет находиться всем здесь, блядь, 100%, блядь.
Оружие не получает, парень, только лучше не уедет.
I feel bad for the Russian soldiers, for they have to turn food wrapper into tents. It does work, but it shouldn't have to be like that. Your country, your state, your government is supposed to take care of you, give you winter clothing, give you tents. My country, Estonia, has supplied Ukraine with plate carriers and vests, and I want to watch Operator Starsky's video about it to feel proud about my country. Before we do that, I have an ad for you. Let's go, my friends. I'm not an Estonian soldier anymore. Or an Estonian YouTuber. I am now a Lord of Scotland, and these are my lands. Established Titles is a project based on a historic Scottish custom, where landowners, such as myself, are referred to as lairds, or lords and ladies in English. They allow people to buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest, so that you can call yourself a lord or a lady. Bow before me, peasant. Off with your head. I'm supposed to be a nice lord. Off with your head. Your certificate features a unique plot number with which you can see the exact location of your land. It makes a great last-minute gift. They even have couple packs that come with adjoining plots of land. You could officially change your name to Lord or Lady and get it on your credit card, plane tickets, etc. if your country allows it. You can even get it on your dating profiles. I mean, have you seen some lords up in Tinder? You're gonna be the first. Established Titles is committed to planting a tree with every order. It is a fun, novel way to help preserve the picturesque woodlands and biodiversity of Scotland while supporting global afforestation efforts. Established Titles is actually running a massive sale right now. Plus, if you use the code Estonian69, yeah, I'm not kidding you, the code is Estonian69, you get an additional 10% off. Established Titles told me that the first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot, within a few minutes of walking. Depending on how many of you want to become a lord or a lady, we can build our own little kingdom. Go to establishedtitles.com/Estonian69 to get your gifts now and help support the channel. Operator Starkey just uploaded Ukraine Aid Ops, Estonia supports Ukraine. This is my country. Let's watch what's going on.
Hi guys, Operator Starsky here, and we are reporting from a warehouse in a unknown location. And today we are meeting Estonian volunteers. Here is what they brought to Ukraine. We all know that it's
I didn't get the boots like that in the military. We had boots like that, but we have two types of boots, and I got the other ones. We have the same boots that the Norwegian army uses because they come from the same company. These are good boots.
cold outside. It's winter now in Ukraine, and we will have plenty of boots for all soldiers, and also all those plate carriers. Harry, can you tell me...
Again, this is a new plate carrier for the Estonian conscripts. I had the old one. I didn't have a plate carrier at all. I had an anti-shrapnel vest from Israel. Israeli killu vest in Estonia is like a shrapnel vest. So it's not bulletproof, but it's supposed to stop shrapnels, and it has the shoulders and armpit protection and a little bit of a neck protection. But this is new stuff. I didn't have that, unfortunately.
About those plate carriers.
Yes, these plate carriers we produce in Kiev ourselves. Since beginning of the war, we've gone through different kind of plate carriers, given out different kind, and these are most favored by the armed forces because it's very easily adjustable. You can quickly with the straps release it, put it on, adjust it, and we produce.
I didn't have it personally, but I have tried it on. I mean, some other conscripts had them, and they are really good. They're very easy to adjust, and they're comfy on you, and they're superb plate carriers. I think any army in the world would be very pleased with them.
Them locally in Kiev, and pretty much this design comes from Estonia. Estonian armed forces use the same design for the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And those are ceramic plates.
Plates, yes. Plates are level 4 strike phase.
Level 4 strike phase, so these plates will stop small arms fire. They're not like the plates in the Russian plate carriers, which you can shoot through with a pistol. We saw a video. These will save your life.
Level 4 NATO standard plates, which are 2.3 kilos.
They're light,
easy,
yeah.
To operate with ceramic plates, because compared to steel, they're much lighter.
Can you say a couple of words about your organization?
Okay, I'm Maria from UAO. I'm volunteering now here in Kiev. So I started in the marketing team, and now, because I saw like there are some more hands needed, I came here because I see that here's the core of
Look, Estonian and Ukrainian patched together. It's very beautiful. I really like how my country is supporting Ukraine, and I support it. We have given over 33% of our military GDP. I mean, we're a small country, and you cannot compare it with USA or Germany or whichever bigger country. They have given a lot more money-wise, but for us as a small country, we have given as much as we can, more than we should actually, being next to Russia. But I am all for it.
UAO, where we really need to take care of stuff coming in, stuff coming out, delivering to the front lines, and just making sure to save as many lives as we can. We save lives, and this is the most important part for us. And very important, like yeah, this can stop you from dying. Like when you're somewhere hit on an arm or...
That's a tourniquet. We had the same ones, always fastened to the leg. Near your ankle there was a little pocket on Estonian army pants, and there was the tourniquet, always ready to be pulled out and applied. These are good things.
Like your leg, you really need that. And there are a lot of bad tourniquets coming with a lot of IFAC packages, so we need to exchange them. And yeah, life-saving, little, comparatively cheap tool, but very important.
So our Estonian friends are preparing all that aid for our soldiers, and while they're doing that, I would like to ask you to subscribe to their resources. It's very, very important for Ukrainian army, and I would like to say thank you. And I'm sure that Ukraine is definitely gonna win. There's absolutely no doubt about it, because we have such friends. My name is Operator Starsky. Thanks for watching. That
was Operator Starsky. He is amazing. I made a podcast with him. The link is in the description below. We had a lot of fun talking. I think we have a lot in common of how we think about this war. So go and check out the podcast. Russia has now lost 40% of their active tank force. These losses, I'm only talking about losses right now that are visually confirmed with photos and videos. We are not talking about losses that don't have photos to prove it or videos to prove it. What I've seen a lot of people in the West say that, oh, Russia has tens of thousands of tanks. This is exactly the kind of propaganda Russia has fed to the West for the last 20 years. The truth is, Russia counts everything as a tank. They've broken down T-72. Some of them don't have an engine. Some of them have turret problems. The turret doesn't move. Some of them don't have tracks. But they're standing around in parking lots, most of them outside, affected by the elements. If the tank doesn't have an engine, it is not fit for battle. If the turret doesn't move, you cannot send it to war. But they count this as a tank, and they feed that number to the Western media. As with every other Russian military equipment list, the tank list was full of air, broken down vehicles, neglected for decades, unfit for battle. Russia is given far more credit in the West than it deserves. Its military is given more credit than it actually deserves. People in the West have a really hard time accepting Russian incompetence on the battlefield and the weakness of its army. I have recently seen many comments about negotiations with Russia. People in the West, again me saying people in the West, some people believe you can actually negotiate with Russia. To these people I say, you don't know Russia. Let's watch a video from a Russian propaganda show.
Зачем делает это сегодня Россия? Ну, то есть, я не знаю, говорили у вас в этой студии или нет, но, конечно, мы понимаем прекрасно, что Россия в данный момент не желает, не хочет, а может быть не может, предположим, вести тотальную войну до победы. Тотальную, катастрофическую, прямую как каток войну, которая должна завершиться пресловутой денацификацией, демилитаризацией и подписанием капитуляции. Поэтому она таким образом склоняет Киев политически к переговорам. Как мне кажется, ну, то есть это, по-моему, это совершенно очевидно. Она склоняет Зеленского к переговорам, он переговаривать не хочет.
А так просто для понимания, мы о чем хотим договориться с Зеленским?
Мы хотим начать переговорный процесс.
С Зеленским?
С Зеленским, безусловно, переговорный процесс о том...
Хотя мы сами говорим, что он не субъектен и мало что решает вообще.
Не поделано. Иначе бы наш МИД и иные инстанции не повторяли бы бесконечно, не воспроизводили эти мантры о том, что мы хотим немножко попереговариваться. Вот, ну, я понимаю, что стратегически нам важно затянуть ситуацию. Ну, нам важно. Понятно же, что...
We clearly aren't ready to launch offensive actions, and this is why this man brings up the talk of negotiating. As I said in the previous video, as President Tutayev of the Chechen Republic, who is now deceased, has said, Russia wants negotiations if they are weak, if they are unable to attack. They want these negotiations to take time to gather force and then strike. Russia never wants negotiations if they are strong. This is how the Russian state works.
Не готовы. Для того, чтобы наступать всерьез, нам, конечно, нужно вдвое увеличить группировку, как минимум, ну и так далее. Ну, то есть, вот этими обстрелами, вот там тем нашим гражданам, которые особенно этому сильно радуются, патриотам, уважаемым мной, ну, короче, вот этими обстрелами войну не побеждают. Ну, то есть вы должны сами понимать. Мы так не победим Киев, не склоним его к капитуляции. Там, это имеет исключительно узконаправленный смысл. Принудить их к переговорам. Но
хотя раньше, вот буквально еще вчера, мы ждали возвращения в Херсон и до сих пор ждем, А еще чуть раньше, в сентябре, в Харьковскую область. То есть таким образом мы согласны зафиксироваться по Днепру в той части, в которой Херсонская область.
Увы, на какое-то время явно согласны. Увы, предположить дальнейших планов не могу, но вот эти, они слишком прозрачны, чтобы они вслух не произнесли.
Но просто не все это признают.
Все это
И
признают.
не готовы признавать
Никто это
многие.
не признает.
Дай
Надо
бог, чтобы я
признать на
ошибался,
официальном
но
уровне,
тут
конечно.
очевидно. Но, понимаете, как начинались первые и вторые Минские переговоры, еще промежуточные переговоры? Они начинались в результате жестких воинских побед. Я думаю, что если российская страна реально хочет переговоров, она, конечно, должна понимать, что одними только вот этими ударами нашими замечательными мы к переговорам их не склоним. Для этого нужна еще подкрепляющая военная.
They're right now talking about the missile strikes, that Russia is quite weak on the battlefield. They cannot really do with anything with these Mobic assaults, so they're missile striking Ukrainian infrastructure. This is what they're talking about. These strikes won't win the war, but they might weaken Ukraine enough to force them to come to the negotiating table, because this is the last weapon Russia has to hurt Ukraine, really. They're going into the point that Russia should negotiate only for the fact that they should gather more force and double down with their army, double down with the numbers of the Mobics on the battlefield as long as they negotiate, and then when they have done this, they can stop the negotiations and attack again. Let's remember, Russia invaded Ukraine. Ukraine cannot be forced to negotiate. Ukraine will take back all of the lands and then negotiate the capitulation of Russia in this war. We have a video of a Russian unit. There are some troops in it who refuse to fight, and the leader of the unit makes an example to everybody. What happens to you when you refuse to fight? Let's watch. Military police, and they arrest this man. On the premises that he refused to fight, probably he refused to carry out orders. But everybody, in front of everybody, so anybody can see that you don't have an option to refuse to fight. Russian army, as it has always been, uses fear and intimidation to force its troops to fight. Such a fighting force has very low morale, and I can see these troops surrendering in Ukraine very fast to escape this. Ambulances have arrived in Kherson to replace those stolen by the Russians. Russians behave in this conflict exactly how my grandfather described their behaviors in Estonia during the occupation. They steal everything that can be stolen everywhere. When Russia left Kherson, and this is the same in Mariupol, same in every city they are in, they export everything from that city that can be moved. We're talking about fire trucks, ambulances, industrial equipment and machines, agricultural equipment, combines. They take apart factories and bring them to Russia. Military is the reflection of a society, so Russian army tells us with its actions a lot about Russian society and the mindset in it. In the very center of Moscow, a large fire broke out. Supposedly it's a train station. Mysterious fires in Russia have not stopped since the war started. We have factories producing military equipment or factories producing something that can be used for military purposes. I guess Russians are just very, very casually smoking everywhere and poof. It's up in flames. Another explosion in the second biggest city, St. Petersburg. The gas pipeline exploded. This gas pipeline was connected to Nord Stream 1 and St. Petersburg, so that the homes of St. Petersburg were left without gas for some time, and the fireball was huge. Supposedly this was because gas wasn't moving through Nord Stream into Europe anymore, and there were some pressure issues, and the grid couldn't handle it. poof. I want to end this video with a scene from a Russian city. You know how in every city has like a square of freedom or park of friendship? Well, this Russian city has a park of patriots for Russia. And this, you might think this is a propaganda clip, oh, I'm showing the worst parts. No, if you have been to Russia, which I have, this is a very regular image to see. This is a park. You should see their roads. You should see their houses. Moscow and St. Petersburg are beautifully kept. All the money is there, but the more east you go, the roads suddenly disappear. The more broken down the houses are. And Russian government has the money to fix it. Their priorities are in another place. Instead of shooting out 1 billion worth of missiles towards Ukraine in one day, this 1 billion could fix this park, kindergartens, schools, and every road in Russia. But the priorities are different in the leadership of Russia. My friends, thank you for staying with me. Thank you for watching. I'll bring you news from Ukraine and Russia. If you like what I do, Patreon link is in the description below. You can also check out my podcast, also in the description below. Until my next video, Slava Ukraini!